Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ashino Anime Podcast. I am Marlon, and I have joined by two guests today. This is my first conference call, I guess you could say, where it's not just a one-on-one back and forth. You guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
I'm Charles, otherwise known as TWWK, from Beneath the Tangles blog.
I am JP, also known as Japes or Japesland from the Japesland blog.
All right, cool. And today we're going to be talking about Attack on Titan, Shingeki no Kyojin, which is up to episode 10 now. And I think we all have different opinions on where this anime is going, why we like this anime, and our expectations of it. So I guess I'll go ahead and start, okay?
Right.
I had a feeling for a while. This feeling is starting to dissipate a little bit now with more recent developments that I've seen. But as soon as I saw that Aaron's father gave him that injection, I had been speculating that there was some kind of superpower going on here, and that it turned out to be confirmed. I did not expect him to turn into a Titan, but um, what that initially felt for me was it was going to cheapen the action because it was like cheating in some way to like steal their powers, and it wasn't actually like people working together to overcome this difficulty. It was just one individual that is just superhuman, and everybody relies on him, and that's boring for me. It's just like that's way too cliche. It's been done hundreds of times, but now with the latest development, have you guys both watched episode 10?
I have.
Yep, same here.
All right, good. So I'm not going to spoil you guys. But with episode 10, it seems like there's going to be some more teamwork. It seems like he's going to be part of the army. You have no idea how much I was rooting for second option, second option. Come on, Armin, convince him, convince him. This is like because if it's Eren and Mikasa going off together, loner style to do this, and they're the only ones that are involved in this. It doesn't feel like humanity's triumph. It feels like it would feel like Eren's triumph, and I did not want that. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think from the beginning, Aaron is, he's got all that motivation, but he lacks in the talent, right? And I like that. It seems as if,
he's not a complete dunce, but.
no, not by any means, but he's not Mikasa either. But it looks as if even, he's got to learn how to use this power, what he can do with it, and at the same time, so being part of this fandom now, all I keep seeing is all these other characters. I'm wondering when these characters are going to come up, what role they're going to play. So, in the back of my mind, I've been thinking, well, no matter what happens with Aaron, there's still going to be a major role for these characters. So, from the beginning, I think I've been a little bit different from you, expecting the teamwork to eventually happen.
Or they're just going to go Game of Thrones style and kill everybody.
Oh gosh.
That's what it feels like.
I pretty much had the same expectation as you. I think. Are you going Alex or Marlon here?
I go either way. People know my name both ways. You can call me whatever you like.
All right. Well, I'll just call you Alex for the sake of the podcast. I definitely had the same expectation. I loved the first couple episodes. I've kind of felt like since then. Well, the thing I really loved about it is I felt like you had humanity in this absolutely dire situation,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt. There have been other anime I think with a kind of similar feel, but it felt tangible in this. Like the Titans are just absolutely killer, and the only thing keeping them alive is that wall. They could pretty much not even fight back, at least according to their the teams that went out and always returned with wounded and dead in the first episode anyway. I've kind of felt like since then the Titans have gotten less scary every episode. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, but I kind of miss the feeling I got in the first couple episodes, where they felt like this almost insurmountable foe. The latest few episodes, I should say maybe like the last two, have really felt like it's been taking it in the other direction. So I don't know what I think about it. I have kind of a pessimistic view on where the series is going, but I also realize that it hasn't gone so far that direction that it can't pull itself back up. So it can still be great. I just am starting to feel less so about it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind
I
of,
agree with you somewhat. Go ahead, Alex.
it's kind of funny. I'm noticing a pattern kind of now with anime. It seems like themes in anime seem to come in waves. Like you get a whole bunch of anime in the same vein of creativity, all clustered together in like seasons almost, or in like several seasons close together. Like last year we had Excel World and Sword Art Online together. Then we had Mayu Mayusha and now Hataraku Mao-sama. So we got we had the online block. Now they had the Hero and Demon Lord arc, and now we got like the humanity backed up against the wall survival thing with Attack on Titan and Gargantia. And so it's just kind of this funny thing that I've noticed with anime right now. And I almost kind of want to talk a little bit about Gargantia here and how it compares to Attack on Titan.
Did you want to say something, Charles?
No, go ahead.
Earlier before, okay.
What I was kind of noticing is, what do I want to say? They've gone, obviously they're very different feeling anime because one's science fiction and one's more, I guess, steampunk fantasy in a way. But at the same time, what we're looking at here is because Gargantia's pace is so much faster, it has to like catch up, it has to complete its story in such a way that we're finally kind of realizing what the Hideyas really are. But in a way, I'm wondering, we're going to have to figure out what the Titans really are, because apparently Aaron's father knows about the Titans. So, like, we're working up to the point where we're going to go to the basement and we're going to get the big reveal. And it seems like, I don't know, something that has been bothering me still about Attack on Titan, that's just kind of like niggling me, is how it almost over-explains everything. It's like those little snippets in between, like in the break where the commercial would be, where it's like talking about all the different stuff that's going on in the world. It's got this little world-building encyclopedia thing going. They're talking about like, okay, the swords work this way, we got these extra blades here. We got the air pistons that shoot our grappling gear out, and it's just kind of like, it's really, really sciencey in a way. And now these titans, with like the colossal titan just like appearing out of nowhere, kicking the wall down and then disappearing, seems almost like we have a science versus magic kind of thing going. And I'm not really sure what to make of that. What do you guys think?
I don't know where we're ultimately going, and it could be really bad. But I like that we're shifting direction because, as JP mentioned, at the beginning you have these awesome enemies. And basically for me, the Giants continue to be just great villains up through maybe episode 7 or 8. And you can only do that for so long. I mean, unless you're okay with your heroes all dying. So we're finally having a shift now, and I like that you're starting to introduce new characters here. You're starting to introduce some of the secrets of the world, and that's where we're going now, right? Aaron is possibly going to be headed towards his father's basement. I'm sure that's going to happen at some point. So I don't know what's going to be revealed, what the direction is going to go, but I think it's necessary at this point to make that shift.
Yeah, that what you're saying with the whole kind of science magic, at least, that's I guess oversimplified a bit, which I'm sure you realize that when you said that.
Well, yeah, because Attack on Titans has like I said, it has that tendency to want to explain things when the time is right. It almost seems like they're going to give us some explanation for the Titans, but at the same time, that's this dangerous ground to walk, because there's a chance of over-explaining and doing and stumbling over your own minefield with like I'm thinking almost like Star Wars and the midichlorians. It's like you over explain it, and it takes away some of the mystery, and it doesn't match what you perceive it should be, and it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea where they're going with that, like how they're going to explain the Titans. So I can't say that I'm worried about it or not worried about it yet, because I just have no idea what they're gonna do exactly. It could be, like Charles said, it could be pretty bad. It could be good though. I'm not sure yet. I am very interested to see how they explain it though, because I'm like, the thing that I'm really wondering about this series is how much of it is fantasy, really. Because it's it's like you said, you have the whole science where they completely explain everything. So they approach all the technology and everything inside the wall they're explaining with kind of a science fiction feel to it. But then you have all the Titans, which do not feel science fiction at all. So like up until now, they have no idea where they've come from, and they seem to defy everything about science pretty much. Like they don't reproduce, or they don't have reproductive organs anyway. I mean, they have to reproduce somehow, or be produced. They don't eat except for humans. All things like that, which means they aren't a regular type of organism. Something that I was thinking about earlier, I wanted to bring up is like a lot of them are well groomed. Like you look at their facial hair and things like that. They'll have like a nice little mustache or something. It's like it obviously didn't grow like that. It has to have some sort of design. I'm wondering if they're going to explain that somehow. I have no idea where they're going to go with that.
Yeah, my lack of confidence in where it's going is because I think when the show gets down to actual storytelling, it's not that strong, not so far. Um, what's been strong about the show is that you have these really strange villains that are horrible and then have little funny things about them. Like you said, they have the facial hair. They kind of run around like they're about to fall down on each other. And then you have the really cool gear that the troops are carrying. So those are kind of the strengths. But when you see things like Armin, like for example in the last episode where you finally think he's going to show up and do something great, well, I guess he kind of saves them, but it wasn't like some great revelation to me what he did, something outstanding and super brilliant. And you have all this build up to that moment, and I was like, that's all right. And so that's kind of the lack of confidence I have, where they're actually going to start revealing things from this point on, and that kind of scares me because I'm actually loving this show. I'm just worried that it's going to start heading downhill.
We've been running very, very long. We've been almost pretty much the whole 10 episode run so far. We've almost entirely been running on emotion, except for like the training missions between episodes 4 and 6.
Somewhere in there.
That was where we introduced a lot more of the cast. That was the time when we didn't see any Titans, and that was the time when we had a lot of story building and we got a little bit more personality. But besides that, pretty much the entire rest of this series, aside from those 2 or 3 episodes, has been all an emotional run, and that's only going to take you so far.
That's true.
You got to have some substance behind that emotion.
Yeah, that's very true. I think what they've done so far, whenever they have been rolling with an emotionally driven writing, it has been very strong. But yeah, I mean, who knows how long that can last? I mean, not 25 episodes or however long it has to be.
You guys have any points that you guys want to bring up?
I did have one thing. With the fantasy science fiction thing that was kind of mentioned a little bit, one thing I am very interested in is they mentioned the only thing they've really talked about so far that has given any inclination of this being Earth is when they talked about Mikasa being the last Asian.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested to see if this is just a fantasy Earth, like if it is our Earth and it's just a fantasy direction, or if it's going to end up being some sort of post-apocalyptic thing, like where it's who knows how far in the future, and it's going to end up being a science fiction, a little bit of a cliche where someone created these titans and then ended up backfiring, and then humanity ended up getting stuck in these walls and kind of regressing, like with the Time Machine by I can't remember the author, where humanity ended up regressing over the course of thousands of years or something. I don't know. I'm really interested to see what exactly, like what planet they're on, what setting that is.
It would seem that this is Earth because they were mentioning Asia, I believe, is what it was. So I think that's not in doubt. Whether this is like a side branch universe where like there was an alternate history, or if this is set in a post-apocalyptic future where the Titans are alien creations or human creations or something, that remains to be seen, obviously. But
there's so many questions, and this season is going to come to an end without answering a lot of these questions, right? We only have a couple more episodes, and that's, I guess that'll keep us hanging on. But that's kind of the thing. I think I'm going to end the season thinking, what do we find out? You know, we found out a little bit about Aaron.
They're going to keep going, and it's not like they're splitting this up, so they're going to keep going right into the summer.
Okay, good. I did not know
That's as far as I was aware of, at least. It's a 25 episode series.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine probably the middle of that 25 episode run is going to be a recap episode in the intermedium series break. And that's usually how they do that with this 25 episodes.
Or if your girl's on Panzer, you just add 3 recap episodes.
Yeah. This is something that I was just wondering, since I have you two here, I figure I'll bring it up. I'm almost, you know me, I always like to speculate to see if I can guess what's going on, if I can piece together the puzzle before the reveal. And something that I've been wondering about is, well, where did the Titans fit in like our mythology? And that goes back to like Greek mythology and that sort of era of Titans terrorizing humanity and the gods coming to save everything. And something that I'm wondering is, do you think it's possible that with the way that like the colossal Titan appears out of nowhere and then disappears, and then we have the whole fact that the Titans don't seem to breed, they don't seem to need to eat, they have like limitless energy. Do you almost think it's possible that they might go the route that the Titans are some kind of divine retribution from God?
I think that would be a very interesting plot development, but I don't see them going that way.
I don't see them going that way either, but you know, I had that thought, that possibility. How about you, Charles?
I'll say I agree with you both. I think it's going to end up being some sort of development by mankind that backfired, going down the science route. But my one thing that might suggest that might be the path is that in the first couple of episodes you had that street preacher, right, who's saying, "Hey, this is divine retribution." But there's no real connect from that point forward. There's no specific obvious religious theme there. Yeah. But it could connect to that.
Yeah, I did mean to mention that. I was really disappointed when that was thrown out there in the first episode or two, and then just completely disappeared.
So from what I understand, that wasn't in the original manga.
Oh, really?
That was kind of thrown in there as part of the anime, and there were a few other maybe. Apparently there were some religious connections in the manga that I should have prepared off the top of my head, or should have prepared and not come in here without thinking of, but that was not one of them.
So that makes that significantly less likely, I would say.
Yeah,
Sorry, anyway, go on. Yeah, it's just a little tag comment.
That's all right. I thought you guys were done, so I was just going to move on. But yeah. Anyway, so now I will move on. Another thing that has intrigued me about this series is the art style. You know me. I'm big on art style. I will not watch certain anime just because I think it looks ugly. A current anime that falls in this category is Flowers of Evil. I think it's ugly. I don't like to look at it. And if I don't like to look at it, I can't stand to watch it. Even if the story is good, the story would have to be really, really good for me to put up with it. But I really like the art style in Attack on Titan. And something that I don't think either of you have watched this series, but it reminds me very strongly of Samurai Girls because it has very, very sharp lines and the outlines, the black lines are very, very thick. Mm-hmm. And there's no gradual shading in any of the different gradients like shadows and how to make the characters look three-dimensional as you would do on just in animation normally. It's all very clean and sharp and cut lines. That what do you think that this about this art style and the way that it kind of fits in with the story? It seems very harsh and it kind of pops out at you, doesn't it?
Do you want to go first, Charles, or me?
I'll go ahead. Yeah, I think there's definitely that harshness, but also it's very very sharp and clear, so you have them drawn in that anime in that certain style, and also when they're in their action scenes, there's this sharp clarity to it. So you have all this jumping and crazy stuff going on with the zip lines being shot out wherever, but it's also very clear what's going on. You can see their movements and so forth. It all works very well together. There's a harshness to the storyline. It feels a little bit, the action is strong, but also I think you get that kind of horror element also with that kind of drawing in addition. JP, what were you going to say?
I'm not sure exactly what I think about it as far as the story connection, but I really, really like it. It's not something I've really seen much of, and what it feels to me a lot like, as someone who doesn't really read much manga, it feels like a visual manga to me. Especially a lot of the effects they'll do in motion, where they'll have the character just kind of floating on screen with the lines, kind of the movement lines on the top and bottom of the screen or the sides. I really enjoy the use of the art style with all that. I think that kind of harshness you're talking about, I think it does definitely add to a lot of the moments. Like, I was not a fan of the last episode, but I really felt like the art style added a lot to what Armin had to say, or the way he said it anyway. Just whenever he went out to basically plead for their lives and he did that salute, I felt like that was something that couldn't quite have been captured as well with a different art style. So that's where I feel like its strength is, and if that adds to the story at all, then I suppose that it makes a good connection there.
You know, in the dark, heavy-set lines that Alex was referring to, you notice that sometimes they really fill in the lines under their eyes when they're like wide-eyed in horror. And you get this look from Eren a lot and Armin a lot also, and that really adds to it because I think you kind of feel their horror in that moment, whether it's they're in front of that gun squad or whether they're facing these gigantic foes.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that.
The reason I'm trying to notice that more is because a buddy of mine over here in Japan actually studied film, and he's an anime fan like me, so he points out a lot of things in anime and film that are like stylistic things that the author or the creator, the producer, the director wants to emphasize to give a certain feel to a certain scene or just an overall theme to a piece. And so I try to notice that too because I think that's really interesting. It's really you kind of get into the mindset of what they're trying to accomplish here with the story. And one of the things that I've noticed a lot is if you can kind of tell that Attack on Titan has a much higher production value than your average anime because there's so much movement. Like the characters will move a lot in every scene.
Minus the last episode.
Oh yeah, well, but just keep an eye out for that in other anime that don't really have a well-defined art style like that. You'll see that a lot of times they're just standing still and moving their lips, and you don't see that so much in Attack on Titan. You see a lot of big movements in pretty much every scene almost. It just has that production value that kind of shows that the people who are making this care about the visual style and making sure that this looks really, really good.
There's a lot of investment in it. I mean, even looking at the color schemes, for instance, a lot of browns, a lot of kind of a look that conveys the time period. I mean, we don't know when this is, probably way in the future, right? But it looks like it happened in the past, and yet it's still bright and vivid for our eyes, and it's still showing that old style. And then you have, and this is probably because of the original manga, but you have, you just have this juxtaposition, which is, I think, wonderful and kind of makes really sets the series on a good tone and continues throughout the episodes. And that's that you have the Titans who are drawn in a different style than the rest of the humans, or the humans. And sometimes they look so strange.
You just reveal a spoiler?
Well, I've been spoiled a little bit, but that was not one. Well, it could be. But, just it's so jarring seeing these goofy-looking Titans just smashing everything and eating people. And it really adds to the series overall.
That's something that I kind of wanted to bring up, was how they've stylized the Titans to be. They created a horror unto itself. It's kind of unique to Attack on Titan almost, with the way that they constructed the Titans, because they are so childish. They're almost like, some of them are like babies and some of them are like children, but they have these adult grotesque bodies in a way, and so their behavior doesn't match what the way that they look in a way, and that's just real creepy. It's almost, how do I want to say that? Is there something else that kind of compares to that in the West? Some other show or movie?
Well, I mean, I think one
maybe
thing
like
you kind of
Chucky
allude to
or
a little bit
something?
is, yeah, Chucky's good. Anything with creepy kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's that kind of look where, like, they're supposed to be innocent, but then when you make them creepy, then they're really, really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is probably one of my favorite parts of the design in the show, is of the Titans, because they are so scary.
It's that juxtaposition of innocence and violence that it creates an inconsistency in our brains, I think, that just gives us the willies. It's like, woo!
Yeah. And maybe that's honestly one reason why I'm not liking it quite as much as I did the first couple episodes, because the first couple episodes, I was so surprised at just how they looked and acted. And I was just like horrified for the characters. Like, I was just scared for the characters, like having to face these things.
There's that shock value, and the shock value is starting to wear off a bit now. Yeah,
that's probably what a lot of my attitude is with this show right now.
Well, they suddenly seem less dangerous. I mean, the first 6, 7, 8 episodes, I was blown away, thinking, well, my favorite anime villain are the Titans. This, they've surpassed everyone, because this is real scary stuff, not just doing some monologue and then getting beaten up by the protagonist. They're just killing everybody and eating everybody, and there's nothing that we can do about it. But then suddenly we see that some of the soldiers can kill the Titans, and then we see Eren can transform into one and just, obliterate a bunch of them. So all of a sudden they go from seeming invincible to seeming, to thinking, well, humanity has a really good shot now if they use Eren.
We know even seeing some of the soldiers too, because they gave you the impression in the first couple of episodes that the Survey Corps was worthless, pretty much. Like they went out and they accomplished nothing, and they came back with many of them dead. And then you see characters like Mikasa and who I don't even remember. Then 2 episodes ago, that one guy that was just introduced, who was just wiping through Titans like it was nobody's business. You're starting to see just regular old humans cleaning up, and yeah, they're seeming a lot less intimidating now than they were before.
Yeah, but it almost seems like these are the almost in a way the psychopath kind of humans, the people who have kind of left a bit of their compassion for others behind, because they almost in some ways have to send the conscripts at the Titans to like slow them down. They're fully willing to let some of their comrades die in order so that they can come in and finish the job. It's almost like a necessary sacrifice in a way, and it's an interesting moral dilemma in a way. I don't know what degree they actually feel that way, but that's kind of what I'm seeing is what's necessary in order to defeat the Titans, and that's a lot of losses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes. I just I was a little bit bummed out to see how just how almost OP Mikasa is. Like they did a good job of making her pretty BA, but she's like it's like what's the point of her even fighting the Titans? She just kills everything, and then you see some of the other soldiers who just like get eaten just because they were flying through the air. And it didn't even get a swing off anything. It's just a little weird to me. We'll see where it goes from here before I make a final opinion on it. I mean, they still have 15 episodes, so who knows?
Yeah. So I just had another little epiphany just now. When you mentioned Charles, when you were saying that your favorite anime villain was the Titans, I had never really considered what my favorite anime villain would be, or what the scariest anime villain that I really thought was. So I've been contemplating it a little bit while you guys were talking just now, and I realized I know who my favorite anime villain is, and who I think the scariest anime villain is, and I think that's the witches from Madoka Magica. And another interesting coincidence, you pointed out that the Titans are animated with a different style. They have a different visual design to them compared to the humans and everything else in the world. They really pop out at you. And just like in Madoka, the witches are also drawn with a very style. They're a different style. They're almost like a collage of stuff stuck together in a way, and they have that very almost, what do you call it, like construction paper feel to them that is set against the softer animation of the world in Madoka. So I think that we're seeing kind of that same creepiness that we found in Madoka here in Attack on Titan, where the villains are separated from humanity. That they have human elements, but that in the same way they're inhuman, and that brings up the creepiness.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think I wouldn't have thought of that if you hadn't said that, but yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think that's a great design for villains. I think if we saw it all the time, it would probably be slightly less so, but so few anime make use of that that whenever we see it, I think it's brilliant. At least in Madoka and Attack on Titan so far.
Yeah, definitely. For anime in general, the villains almost never get me. But those two series, you have something very jarring, very different, and notice that other connection is that both of these are not only strange, but they immediately kill important characters. And so it's not just talking and talking and talking for 25 episodes. It's a few episodes in, people die or girls die, and then you're like, wow, this is for real in a animated sense.
Yeah.
I just this is a tiny bit off topic now. You were talking about all these villains, so I decided to look through my top 9 list to see if there are anything that pops out to me with villains. And my top 9 list has almost no tangible villains. The villain is usually like death by natural causes, or just a lack of comedy. I don't know. So I have little to give on that side of things.
Did you guys have any other points that you wanted to bring up?
Well, I feel like we're obligated to talk about the opening sequence, at least a little bit.
Well, what do you want to talk about it? It's definitely caught a lot of people's attention. It's gotten people fired up for the series. It's a good opening, but don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to deny that or say I'm not disagreeing with that. But at the same time, I feel that it's just kind of like, really, you're getting so hyped up over that.
That's kind of what I wanted to mention a little bit. Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure I quite get it. It is a very unique opening. I think the track it's very fitting for the series.
It is, but it's corny, right? I mean, like people love this opening. Whenever I'm on Tumblr on Saturday nights when when people are watching this in the States, and everyone is like posting, man, the opening's coming on, I love this, and I'm like, man, it's ridiculous. They have 100 people jumping up straight in the air, and people falling from the sky. And then if you notice when they reveal the opening title, Attack on Titan, it's on fire, and then the fire goes out and there's blood all over it. And it's just so over the top that people say, well, I watched the opening and I always skip this one because to me it takes away from it. I mean, I love the score, but it's just you're taking away from the seriousness of the series a little bit.
Yeah, it's almost the opening seems to disconnect from the series. It's like, oh, we're gonna mislead you with the opening. Is like, yeah, this epic clash, and it's like, no, humanity's just getting slaughtered.
Oh man, I love some of what's come out of it though. I think some of the best like videos on this opening are ones that are making fun of it for the most part because of how cheesy it is. Like you said, I think my favorite 2 that I've seen, because there are so many videos on that opening where they've like retracked things to it. But Attack on Christopher Walken.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, that one is great. Shingeki no Kyojin-kun.
I think that the only one that I've seen is Attack on Majo, which is the Madoka parody.
I love when people make fun of it because of how cheesy it is. It's really funny though, just how popular it's gotten. It's like I don't quite understand.
It's definitely epic though, so I'm not going to slight it for that.
Definitely epic. Yeah. I do like the opening monologue that is basically the same in each episode. In the year blah blah blah, humans were attacked by titans and so forth. I like that. It's a little bit of a filler, but I think that sets the tone a lot better than the opening.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you can do that for a little while, maybe for like the part of the series where people are still just kind of getting into it, and where it was the past still, and but now it just kind of seems like, well, the tides are turning now. Do we really need that anymore? And we're pretty late into the series. Anybody who's jumping in now probably is going to be rewatching the beginning anyways to catch up to where we are. Shakugan no Shana Season 1 did that too, where Alastor had this little introduction of what the setting was for the world, and that stopped after in Season 2 and 3.
Yeah, it might eventually grate on my nerves. Right now, since I'm watching it once per week, it hasn't gotten to that point.
Yeah.
When a series is finished, I almost always marathon it, and I would probably be a little ticked if I was watching this series episodes back to back.
I think it'd be okay if it changed a little bit and was like a little slight recap of the previous episode or something, maybe. And I think they do that a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, they change up a little bit. They have different characters read it, I think, also.
What is it?
But I'm the opposite. I don't like recaps. I'm like, just show me the episode. But regardless.
All right. Was there anything else that you guys had? I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about. Was there anything else that was intriguing you guys about this series?
I think I mentioned everything I had written down.
How about you, Charles?
That's it for me.
Alrighty then. I think we've gone on long enough. Thanks for listening, everybody. My name's Marlon. This has been our discussion of Attack on Titan, and I was joined by these two fine men. We want to go ahead and sign off as well, guys.
All right, thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. This is Charles saying bye.
Yeah, thanks for listening again. This is JP.
All right, thanks, everybody. This has been Marlon of Ashita no Anime, and hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.